Today's circle is titled The Day After, with a secondary title, A Circle of Voices. Photography and pictures, at their best, are a powerful language that speaks to our emotions. They allow us to tell our story and show others our framing of the world around us. Sometimes it lets you see things that you may never have noticed otherwise, and ultimately it preserves new and old memories. Photography affords immortality. It documents our journey through life and can be a wonderful stress reliever as you look toward nature and capture its sheer beauty. It can inspire you to become creative. It's an extension of your experience. Photographs and pictures play an important role in each of our lives. They connect us to our past. They remind us of people, places, feelings, and stories. They have the power to move us and can grab our attention. They can speak directly to our emotions. They capture beginnings, endings, and all in between. They give us inspiration. Photographs are a tangible link to the past, to a lost childhood or forgotten significant event. I've always found photos to be quite telling in terms of people and their relationships. Today, we get to have a glimpse of you through your perspective of the picture you are sharing. And this is a precious gift you give to all of us. We get to know you better. We get to understand you a bit more and possibly get a different glimpse of you through the story you tell us about your picture. We ask that you also remain present for everyone else's sharing too. We're practicing good listening skills. Please don't cut off your camera when you are listening and keep your microphone on mute until it's your turn. Be supportive by being attentive, by being present. Be conscious of time so everyone gets a chance to talk who wants to. We have 10 people with photos. So if we do about 2 minutes apiece, that should be just about right. And then if we have time, we may also have some comments afterwards. So we'll go around the circle until time runs out. And when finished, and if time allows, I will ask you if you would like to add something. If we have another circle go around. If not, we'll just come back to our usual script. But now it's time to take a few minutes to tell us about the picture that you have brought to share today. Who would like to begin? Dolores, would you unmute yourself, please? Thank you for beginning, Dolores.
So this is a gathering on Thanksgiving this year. And this is a gathering of people that I love and respect. I consider them my family, yet I am not related by blood to any one of them. Yet my familial relationship comes from the kindness that we give each other and with each encounter. The makeup of the family changes over time. Add some, subtract some, changes occur. It's a living system. My family has always been the people I love. For me, family is a choice, not an obligation. I take joy in their joy and they take joy in mine. My wish for you today is that you may have a family of your choosing too. So remember, choose well. Thank you.
Thank you, Dolores. Okay, who would like to go next?
Kathy does.
Okay, Kathy.
Kathy.
Oh, okay. Thank you for letting me go second. I just did, I'd rather not be last. It gets too nervous. Anyway, this is my dad, and it's a time when I didn't know my dad. I believe he's about 30 or 35. He was older when I was born, 44 or 45. And I have a tendency, and I think many of us have a tendency to focus on our moms, whether good or bad. Anyway, I just found this picture here in Cambria, and I just wanted to share it. He was very, very sweet. They were a lovely and loving couple. Oh, I miss him. Oh, he died when I was 29, and he was a farmer from Iowa, one of a good Catholic family with 9 children. 5 of the boys had to drop out of high school, I think when they were maybe freshmen, and to work on the farm, and most of them bolted from home then by about 16 or 17, which is what my dad did. Moved from Iowa and ended up in Oregon, in Portland, and that's where he met my mom. And anyway, lovely topic, Diane. Thanks.
Thank you, Kathy. Okay, Judy Butler, would you please unmute yourself and share?
Um,
Oh,
well, there we go. While we're on parents, this is my favorite picture of my mother, Anna Bancroft, while she was in college. She was an artist, she was a musician. Her plan was to become a music education teacher. However, my father interrupted all that. She decided to get married, and at that time in the 30s, married women could not teach in the schools, so she never continued her college education. Um, and I think it always bothered her that she never finished. She her favorite statement was, when you educate a man, you educate a man. When you educate a woman, you educate a family. And I think in her case, that was so true. She was so deep into literature, Latin. She was the math whiz in the family. And some of it trickled down. I like to think I got a little, and who knows what she could have done if she'd been able to go on and finish. But I love this picture because she looks so free and happy standing on a rock in the Merrimack River. Um, and I just love it. I have it in a frame in my bedroom. And thanks for letting me share.
Thank you, Judy. Susan Landau, would you please unmute yourself?
I am unmuted. I need to apologize. I could not get a picture in my house without a glare. It just couldn't happen. This is a embroidery, and it's a large. You can't really tell the size from that, but it's a pretty good size picture. And when my father started aging, he started getting arthritis in his hands. And so he decided to take up embroidery, and he was a lefty. I tried to teach him to knit and crochet, and that I just couldn't do it because he was backwards. But he taught himself to do embroidery and needlepoint and something called bargello. And what he did in that process, it was really hard to choose which one of his things to take a picture of. But he left his family this amazing legacy of these beautiful things that he created. When he passed, there were enough of these pictures in mom and dad's house that we were my sister and I were each able to take one, and each of our 2 girls was each able to take one. He left as many pillows that were our bargello. I have a bell pull that he did that he entered in the county fair and won a first prize. My father was just, he was like the perfect dad. He was uh, uh, the most loving man in the world. And I know my parents had as many friends as they had because they all loved my father. I've never met anybody who did not like that man. He was pretty amazing. So this is part of his legacy, and it's hanging in my place along with a couple other pieces he did. And it just means the world to me. Thank you for letting me share.
Thank you, Susan. Wow, these are wonderful. Sue and Mike, would you please lower your hand and unmute?
It is Sue here. I'm afraid Mike had an early appointment to do something else, so he had to say hello and run out. But I chose a picture that I'm always looking at because it's right next to my kitchen, and I just glanced at it, so I went with my first instinct. And this is my family at our son's Cameron's wedding that occurred 3 years ago. And Diane, your topic led me to look closely as to why I always look at this as I walk by. It's not an old photo, but it's a modern picture of my family. But I thought very deeply about how I felt when I looked at it. And I realized that every time I go by, I smile and I'm happy, you know. And yet it's also the last formal event where we were complete as a family like this, because after that my mom passed away and she's no longer with us. But I realized that it doesn't make me sad, it really makes me happy, because I realize how families expand and how families shrink, and they're continuously changing and evolving. And I really think that my connection with understanding nature helps me accept that, because things are born, things age, they die. And so I'm still happy when I look at this picture, although certainly we miss our mom. Thank you.
Thank you, Sue. All right, I don't see any hands at the moment, but I know there are a few people who still want to go. So I'll just go ahead and step into this spot. Randy, you can put my picture up next. This is a picture of my son, my daughter-in-law, and their 2 children, Langley and Trammell. This I took a couple weeks ago when I was at my sister's home, and I decided to use this picture because I'm so impressed with those 2 and their ability to be maneuvering the waters of something they've never done before, which is raising children, raising Black children. So I found that they're doing a tremendously courageous job. I relate to the vulnerability they must be experiencing with everything going on in the world. I mean, having new babies is enough to be vulnerable about, but with so much more going on about racism, it can get pretty scary. My daughter-in-law has chosen to make the adoptions open, and Langley, that's the one on the right, he's almost 2.5. They're both very large for their ages, but yeah, Langley looks a lot older. But anyway, Langley recently met his birth mother and his 3 older sister siblings. And Carrie and Michael actually have a poster in both children's rooms, and it's called the Adoptee Manifesto by Angela Tucker, and it says, quote, "We can love more than one set of parents, relationships without birth parents, foster parents, and our adoptive parents are not mutually exclusive. We have the right to own our original birth certificate. Curiosity about our roots is innate. We need access to our family medical history. The pre-verbal memories we have with our first family are real. Post or culture shock exists. It's okay in a mixture of gratitude and loss. We are not alone. We have each other. And then my daughter-in-law has also put up a picture of their birth mother that also hangs on the wall next to this. And the message there, which I think is one of the best messages I can ever imagine my own adult children giving to their children, is that there's enough love to go around for everyone. So I'm learning from my kids all about loving and being open, and hopefully we will continue to grow and learn as they get older. And I completely appreciate my time that I get to spend with them now. Thank you. Thank you for sharing that with me. Okay, Joel. Do you, unmute yourself, please.
This is not my family.
Joel, I can't understand you.
Yeah, I had trouble with audio. If I speak up really loud, is that better?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. I'm not exactly sure where the microphone is on this setup. But I'm saying this is not my family. This is a picture I took, a photo I took when I lived in Boston. Right after my first job after university was in Boston. And I used to like to take photos, candid photos of people that were not aware that I was taking a photo. I could do that. I had a telephoto lens. So I could do that from them some distance away. So this was taken, I believe, in Boston, Chinatown, probably during the Chinese New Year festival. And I'm putting it up because there's been a lot of discussion and back and forth about race. And this picture celebrates race. It shows that people can be proud of their race, of their culture. They can share it. They were sharing it with the Boston community that day. And I think that there's just too much negativity associated with race, and I think negativity comes from unhappiness, and positivity comes from happiness. And this was a very happy day that occurred in Boston, Chinatown this day way back when, and I wanted to share the positivity of our celebration of race and culture. And that's why I put it up.
Thank you, Joel.
I can't
Mary Ann
find,
would like to share a picture, even though Randy does not have the picture. Mary Ann's going to hold it up for us to see. So Mary Ann, can you unmute?
Yeah, this picture has a big significance for me. This is Ames's daughter, Shenandoah, and her husband, Stephen, and sitting between them is Hannah on her 15th birthday party, and younger daughter, Thea. When Ames and I met and married, Shenandoah and I did not, we did not blend. She had father issues. I wasn't accepted. We had a lot of difficulty, very, very sincere difficulty that we even talked about. And I'm mentioning this because there was a point about 6 or 7 years ago when Ames got very sick, and Shenandoah flew down, and she and I opened our hearts to each other. And we fell in love, and starting off the way we started for probably 10 years and seeing that turn around into being involved and having just visited for her birthday this wonderful family up in Portland makes me realize the power that we have to change our hearts. And in so doing, other hearts change as well. And I am most grateful for that opportunity to share with you. So if there's anybody that you've got a little thing with like this, trust me, it can turn around. So I'm so grateful for that.
Thank you so much, Mary Ann. I'm so glad you joined us. Is there anyone else who would like to join us?
I can't find my hand.
Okay, there it is. I see it now. There we go.
A few years ago, I went to a vocal jazz camp in Santa Cruz, and one of the requirements was to prepare 3 solos, which they gave us. One of mine was Besame Mucho, which translates as Kiss Me Much. And it's not one of my favorite songs, so I decided to interpret it. I kneeled on the stage and I mimicked bringing my dog across the stage and singing Besame Mucho to him. The audience liked this. When I got home, I taught him the routine, which you see here. This is about my love for singing, my love for dogs, and me liking to have fun.
Thank you, Wayne. Thank you all for sharing. Jan, we have a new hand up. Jan, if you would unmute yourself.
Yep. Okay. Can you see me?
Yes,
Can you see this picture?
little closer.
Can-
There we go.
Okay.
Little higher, okay,
Higher.
there you go.
All right. That is my niece, who I didn't know I had until 10 years ago, her wife, and their mixed race daughter, and their son, who is they're both naturally born and they're not adopted, and the grandmother. And this was a family I had no idea existed. And they are just such a model of how we can all get along and exist in a crazy, crazy world. And I just wanted to share that. That's Nicole, Tracy, Mia, and Dominic. And the mom's Grandma Sandy. So sending love to them.
Thank you, Jan. Okay, I think, is there anybody else who would like to, yes, Randy?
Yes, hi, hang on a second. Look at my picture
Okay.
here. Okay. I find this photograph being, every time I see it, I just feel that feeling of gravitas and profundity. There's many layers to this photograph. First of all, it was taken by a U.S. Air Force colonel who at the time was my brother. And what this picture represents is that I, as a kid, never really liked to go away from home. I was a homebody, and Mary and I tend to like to be at home. And so for us, traveling is a real challenge, especially when we're not with Janet and Joel or the Nathansons, because they do so much and we just tag along, we have a great time. But when we travel on our own, it's quite challenging. And this is an example of that. And the second thing that's profound is that we're sitting on camels, and that's not something people get to do all the time. And I find riding camels so much more comfortable because they're skinnier than horses. But the most intriguing thing about this is that we're sitting on camels in the middle of Petra. That's in Jordan, in the country of Jordan. And Petra is a bucket list place to go. It's pretty much like the Disneyland of the Middle East. And we were there, sitting there on September 26th, 2001. That's 15 days after 9/11. And most people would not even get on a plane to go from LA to San Francisco. And we got on a plane and went to Jordan. My brother at the time was an air attaché. Now this picture is not about the travelogue aspect of it, but just the sense of rural community. If you notice the thousands of people that are not there, this is ahead of tourist season, and we had the whole place to ourselves. It was just incredible. Not that that was a good incredible, because usually a place like this would be teeming with people like at Disneyland, but here we were it. But we were amongst these structures and so forth made out of buildings carved out of the nearby rock and hillsides. This is also the same place where the famous Treasury building is that you saw in the movie. What was that movie?
Return of
The Raiders of the Lost Ark.
that's it.
Okay, so in fact, we rode our camels from the marketplace here to that structure. But I was sitting there at that moment thinking, I took a mental snapshot saying, this is a significant moment that we were here in the Middle East at this time that the whole world had the Middle East in its, I should say, the intense glare of its world spotlight was on the Middle East, and then we went to it. And I really felt, instead of just being at home and just our small selves here, that we were in part of a real big picture. It's a big picture moment. Because the whole world was just on pause and just trying to deal with what had just happened to our country. So the weight of this was just immense and on so many different levels. And that's why I find this picture to be so significant. Okay.
Thank you, Randy.
Sure.
Okay, I think we've gone and seen all the pictures that were given for today. I have to tell you that my heart feels very full from all the personal sharing that went on. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.